Hi all. We are excited to launch our electronic MAR module within ICM as of October 1st. So as of October 1st, as long as your FLD has been able to verify the medication in ICM that came over from Northern Pharmacy, as long as all of that went smoothly, which we're anticipating that it does, then starting on October 1st, instead of documenting administration of medications on a paper MAR, you will be documenting the administration of medications within the electronic MAR in ICM. That was a mouthful. But it's a really easy process for documenting administration of medications within ICM. We made it as easy as humanly possible. It pretty much generates the back of that MAR for you, so you don't have to worry about just signing off on the back or anything like that. It really is a matter of a couple clicks of a button to administer a medication. We are still going to stick with our policy to add the blister pack number in for the medication that applies to. So obviously that doesn't apply to things like topicals or any kind of medication that doesn't come in a blister pack. But really it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. It should only take you a couple seconds to document the administration of medications within ICM. So we are very excited to launch this. We hope that this is a time saver for you. We hope that this helps to streamline some things for our DSPs. That is our goal. So within this video, you're actually going to hear Candy from iCare Manager. You're going to hear her explain certain parts of the electronic MAR. And then we'll also go into some other things that we need to know. So outside of just administering medications and documenting that, we also need to know sort of those what ifs, you know, if somebody has an omission to a medication, they refuse the medication, if we have a medication error, which we hope we don't, but we do need to know how to document things like that when that comes up. So this video is going to cover all of that. I'm going to make it as short and sweet as possible. All right, thanks guys.
So we have a couple of options here for the electronic MAR. I can choose this feature right here, which says eMAR, okay? When I click on this, what it'll do is it'll show me everybody under my caseload. So I'm logged in right now as Trisha Timmons, so it would give me everybody. But it's really only going to give you the people you have access to. So if you have a lot of access and you want, we've got sort features up here, okay? So you could sort it by, you know, by just the home. If you guys did med cards, you could do cards, but really you're just going to be using this home feature. You can do it by initials. Really, it's the last name only. So if it was for Donald Duck, I would just click on the D and then, you know, hit enter and it would pull up what's doing it, Donald Duck. So that's what this does. This would be a tremendous list of probably a couple hundred people. This is one option. The other option is to go back into Donald, okay? And so here I am on my people list, into his eChart, and then into his eMAR. This is Donald's own eMAR. So I'm on the main eMAR, okay? Here's Donald Duck, and you can see I've got my morning, afternoon, evening. Any PRNs are here. Treatments, here's that standing orders. So for Donald Duck, here's the morning. I'm going to come over here where it says past meds, and it's going to show me everything that he has. Okay, so these were all the things that we verified for him. Okay, your staff is still going to have to do a three-way check. Whether you're using a paper system or an electronic system, that is a vital step in administering medications. So they will have a paper PMOF, they will have their pill pack or whatever it is that they're getting their medications from, and they will have this eMAR to look at. So those are the three pieces. Once they've compared everything, they've taken vitals, you know, they're within the parameters, and they've popped all of this stuff and given it. When they come back, what they have to do is click where it says administer. So this is the test medication. It's asking for the pill number. Okay, so this is the same process that you guys have right now. So I would say, you know, I got that out of bubble 18. Administer now. So it's automatically going to throw their initials in. Okay, if I use this little drop down here, and I click on this, it's going to show me that it was administered by Patricia Timmons and it was pill number 18. Okay. So we're just going to go on down the list for this methylphenidate. Watch what happens with this control. As soon as I click administer, it's telling me that there are 30. Okay. I'm going to put in here what I'm giving. What did I give this person? So as soon as I put in 1, it takes it from 30 to 29. So it will count these pills when they're given. If they accidentally put the wrong number in here and they think they're supposed to put in what was left, you can see it takes the quantity down to 1. And they click administer now and okay. So they're going to go through the same thing for each one of these. And then watch what happens when we get down to this one. This one is asking for the vital signs. So of course they're going to verify that they're giving from pill spot 18. And then they have to put in that blood pressure. It's not going to let them click administer now. It tells them that that information is required. So they're going to put in their, it was say 130 over 75 and the pulse was 80. Okay. Once they enter those vitals, then it will allow them to pass that medication or mark that it was administered. So again, what you get from this little drop down, when you open these little column carets up and you click on those initials for the day, you can see all that detail. So you can see 130 over 75, 80, pill number 18, that sort of thing. Okay. So they're going to come down and do the same thing. When they get to some of these medications, maybe this one was refused. So instead of clicking administer, they click this little arrow next to that. Okay. It brings up this little box here. So we're going to say omitted. So either the person refused, it was held for some reason. Maybe they were physically not able to take it. Maybe every time it's an elixir. It looks like it's something that a liquid that he's taking. Maybe every time he was taking, he kept spitting it out. He kept, gagging, and he physically just couldn't get it down, or something other was happening. Maybe he went out for lab work and he's going to take it when he comes back, or that sort of thing. But you've got some options here. So you can say the person refused it. Okay. What were the results of that refusal? Maybe it was not given. The staff can click that they checked the nurse, called the nurse. And then what instructions were they given? Try again in 30 minutes, have him eat piece of toast and then try again, whatever, how many attempts they made, and then they can save it. So what it does is it makes it orange. So right now you're used to signing and then circling your initials and then populating that information on the back. That's basically what the system does. It kind of circled those initials. When I click on it, it tells me that it was a refusal. And when we generate this paper document out, I'll show that to you. It will have that on the back of the MAR. Okay. So we're just going to keep going down the list here. And get all these in here because I want to show you what it looks like. Aspirin, bubble number 18, administer now. And here's our little tooth. And so here's the thing. If it doesn't, it's not, dental floss picks aren't going to come, into this area. You can put a 0 in here and leave it that way. This is what it looks like when it's all filled out. You get this lovely, really nice completion bar up here. 11 of 12 things. And of course, this omission just is, they did 12 things, but only 11 of them were administered. You can come over here then to the afternoon. Again, click past meds. Now, we're only in a test mode right now. Don't everybody panic that you can go back at any point in time and sign. That's actually not true. Look here what happens. If I come to the evening and I click on past meds, this is an 8 p.m. med, and it tells me that I can administer after 7 p.m. So this isn't going to even open for that administer button to show until 7 p.m. So these meds don't open up until 1 hour before, and it can be locked down to 1 hour after. Okay, so probably while you're training, it won't be that hour before, hour after, but I would imagine you guys are going to get to that fairly quickly. to kind of tighten it up so that people aren't just signing whenever they feel like signing. It's important to sign for things when they've been given, and just not kind of when it strikes your fancy or when you feel like it. So you want really to encourage your staff to make sure they're signing these things off in a timely manner. So let me show you now what it looks like to generate out one of these documents. So I'm here in the eMAR, and right next to where it says past meds, there's this little nice arrow, and I can generate this MAR. When I click generate, I want to see September of 2020. And of course you could go back, but you guys won't have anything prior to this because you haven't started yet. And I want to click generate now. So I want you to see what this document looks like, you know, so that you've got an idea of what it's going to be like when it gets, if it ever has to be printed out. There we go. So you can see here we are on the 18th and we're signing for things, and you can see it's putting in that information for the pill number. And it's got all these things kind of coming down through here. It's putting credentials on the back. So the minute anybody touches any medication and signs for it, if they're a med tech and they're allowed to, if they have the permission to do it, it will put their initials, their name, and their title on the back of every page. So you don't hand sign these anymore. They're automatically signed by the system. Okay. So you can see when you come back down through here, here's one that had the vital signs. So it's putting the 130/75 with the pulse of 80 and then the pill number. So it's putting all of this information on here for you. Let's find, so here's that refusal for the valproic acid. If I scroll on the back here, person refused, not given. Okay, so whatever you chart in the system, it will appear in the correct spot on the back of this MAR. Okay.
Okay, so real quick, just want to show you some things to keep in mind as far as administering medications that are late, and also medication errors if we ever need to document that. We hope we don't have them, but just in case we need to document them. So the system will lock you out. I believe it's 8 hours past. So if you try and go in to administer a medication and that window has passed, you'll see this little red not administered button. And if you click on this, you have the ability to say that med passed on paper. So maybe something went wrong. I always think worst case scenario, what if the internet breaks? You always have that paper MAR from Northern Pharmacy as the backup. So if you ever need to pass something on paper, you can go ahead and click this, and it'll go ahead and administer it for you, okay? If that is the case, if we ever do have to administer something on paper for any kind of emergency reason, just keep in mind you are gonna have to sign the back of that. You're gonna have to make sure that it's all up to date and it's correct. And then you're also gonna have to turn that in to the office, and you're also gonna have to either notify the nurse so that, I don't know if we're ever gonna get back to the nurse that's coming back to our houses, but the nurse would need to know to look at that. And then if they're doing a virtual visit, you're gonna have to scan that in and send that to the nurse. So keep that in mind, but we always have that backup just in case, okay? Also want to show you this errors and omissions. If you ever need to chart a medication error, you can come up here and click add error. Here you would select error, and then you would find your medication, whichever one you had the medication error on, or what you found that maybe this is a medication error that you discovered and you didn't necessarily do it. It's automatically going to give you the current date and most recent time for that that medication. So if you're discovering something after the fact, you would go in here and you would change this. So maybe way after the fact, you realized on the 16th we had an error. And that was the 6 p.m. medication. It's going to ask you the documentation, the error type. So you can say documentation, it's omission, it was the wrong person, incorrect dose, incorrect route, the whole 9 yards. And then you also have other, just in case something else wasn't captured in all of these other reasons. Your comments would be exactly what you would write on the back of an MAR. So don't leave comments blank. We need an explanation as to what happened, what the circumstances were. If you were the one discovering it, you should be writing I discovered this on this date, and this is what I found out. We don't typically use progress notes here at Bella McCree, so you can leave that off. Progress notes are not the same as care trackers, so don't get that confused. You also have the ability to say who actually was the one who had the error, but if you don't know who that staff person is, it's not making sense, which I know has happened to us before. We're going back in time trying to figure out who the staff on shift was at the time. So if you don't know off the top of your head and you can't figure that out right away, you don't have to select anybody. You can leave that blank. It's automatically going to populate your name here because you're the one that's reporting it, whether you're reporting it on yourself or you don't know who it was or you select somebody else, you're still the reporter. You can notify your supervisor here, but the problem is that it's going to notify an entire role. So if you say, notify senior FLDs, it's going to notify all of the senior FLDs that we have. Same thing for program directors. It's going to notify all of our program directors. So I would not recommend using notify roles. I would recommend sticking to our policy, which is you got to call it into the nurse and then you need to notify your supervisor. You can always notify your supervisor within ICM by sending them a message. That's completely up to you. Also, we don't typically notify the doctor. So I would not select to notify any physician unless you are directed to by the nurse or your supervisor. I would leave that blank and then you would just click save if I can speak. Oh, I needed to pick it. We'll say it was the wrong person. And then you say okay, and now it has documented that error. Okay, and then you would see that on your MAR if you were to generate that, which I know we already went through earlier in this video. But that's kind of the gist of this. So if you have any questions regarding administering medications with the eMAR, please let us know. We are going to be rolling out some more features with this as it goes, but we're just kind of getting our feet wet for the first month or so. So if you have any suggestions or you're not seeing something that you need to see, please reach out to your supervisor or reach out to me, Tricia Timmons, and I will get that fixed for you. Thanks.